forward to this one.
Well, yeah.
So,
this will be fun.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Masiella, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear about this.
Yeah,
So,
we're back.
yeah. So Scott you've just like recently, within 2 weeks, finished up your final treatments of cancer.
Two treatment cycles. The first was chemotherapy, and then what was left, they used a new radiation technique.
Okay, so you wrap that up, but so I guess we can tell everybody you've had pancreatic cancer.
Yes, pancreatic cancer, stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Okay.
Adenocarcinoma, which everybody probably laughed. They're like, man, that dude really mispronounced that. But hey,
It is what it is.
what it
Yeah. So, and Chad and I were with you right about the time that you found out about
Yes.
this. So I want to go right back to the beginning and
Okay.
I want to know what you were feeling, how did you suspect this? And
So it was interesting. So when I joined the company, we got to talking. We met each other. We had our new sales team meeting.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And at that point in time, I didn't know yet. We were doing some scans. I was having back problems that I've never had before. So I was having trouble running. I usually run 5 to 6 miles a day. So it was a strange feeling where I couldn't figure out how to get rid of the back pain. I was doing 5-minute planks. I was trying anything maybe just my core is bad. And so we went through a series of scans, starting with an ultrasound, ending in MRI. And each time they would rule out okay, well, you don't have an ulcer. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of what I wanted.
Yeah.
You don't have kidney stones. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Your core seems to be okay. And I'm like, oh, this is getting bad. I'm like, what's
now
left?
I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, what's left? I'm like, well, let's just do the scans first. So no one would ever say anything what was left. And then when the scans came, then you get you have that, it's called My Chart or whatever it is, depending on the hospital app. Well, I got the results before the doctor could have a meeting with me, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, ooh, this is really bad. It's got tumors on my pancreas, tumors in my liver, suspected tumors in my lungs, suspected tumors in my bones. It was all over the place. And when I came in, the doctor had said, well, my wife came with me. And he's like, well, I'm not really sure how to tell you this, but it's a death sentence. I said,
Wow.
So it was interesting because this has been my doctor for years, just standard family practice doctor, of which I mostly ignore. Right, I'm sure you
go to him for blood work.
Yeah, you go to blood work, and then he's like, "Well, you should probably do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's gonna crimp my style." So
right.
I had read it as okay, he wants me to actually do something about this, which I was planning on doing because it looked pretty bad. My wife took it as he didn't know what to say, so he said what came to his mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started. And I remember telling Clayton I had to go and see more scans, talk to the doctors up at Cleveland Clinic. And, the first thing they said is ooh, this is bad. We can't do surgery. So, what do you do? They're like, well, we'll put you in touch with somebody else. I'm like, okay.
So how long is the time frame from diagnosis to developing a plan this is what we're going to do?
So that's actually a great question because I've seen it. I've met so many people with my cancer over the past 6 months, and far and away, I was the fastest to get from diagnosis to a plan, and it was about 10 days. Some of them were going on 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. From the time that they saw my MRI scans to the time they had a port in my chest and they did my first chemo treatment was 10 days.
Wow. Well, I assume it's very time sensitive. They want to get on this right now.
I'm sure that's exactly what it is. Because they had said well, if you do well with the chemo treatment, you should be around for about 2 years. I said, what if I don't do well with the chemo treatment? 3 months. I said, Now, mind you, this is
Are the conversations just that matter of fact?
This is 5 months ago. This is 5 months ago.
This was at August. Late August, or early September.
7 months.
7 months.
And the conversations are just that direct. Like, there's no sugarcoating. Like, 3 months.
So it's interesting. Glad you also asked that question because it depends on the doctor and the surgeon, who's who you have to see first. This guy's like, well, if I can do my job, then you're in and out. Right. And the surgeons don't really have bedside manner. Once you get to the oncologist, the ones who's giving you the chemo, they really have a much better soft.
They deal with it every day.
They deal with every day. They lose a lot, right? Like you're talking about people that have a batting average of, 10%, 5%, like it's bad.
Yeah.
So they're trained to give you bad news because that's all they ever seem to do.
I'm sure they get numb to it.
That was definitely.
So where did your brain go, Scott, when you start hearing this news? Because the one thing that we've noticed on the side here, I mean, you've been
really have
positive. I mean, you've been like, hey man, let's go, let's get it done.
And I mean, you're a father. Yeah. And you have how many kids? 3?
I have 2 kids. Two kids. One was going off to college as a freshman. The day that I got my diagnosis, he and my wife were driving away to New York, and I have a daughter who is a junior this year. But I'll tell you, so early on, I compartmentalized. So when I would talk to you guys or talk to anybody at work, I had I was very compartmentalized. I was trying not to think about it, but the minute I hung up the phone, it was rough for a few weeks. Recently, I started helping a person who just got diagnosed. He's 48, and as I was going through some of his questions, I realized what I was doing early on, which was number one, like the first thing you want to do, right, is make sure that all your passwords are updated. So if anything should happen, your spouse knows what to do. Like, hey, don't forget, like I have this money over here from this 401k, and don't forget about this. And then, hey, by the way, the banking.
Well, you set up everything like that all along.
Yeah.
But you really don't think about, now I've got to get all this ready to go.
I did it for a living, and I don't know if my wife
I know,
the
same way. Yeah.
It was, and then I said, and then I go, the next step would be, do you really want to spend the money if it's a year or, at best, or 2 years at best? Is it really worth the money? And that's where the switch kind of flipped, because that's when my wife really went. I mean, she went from being sad to angry almost instantaneous. Are you serious? Like, you really? Yeah. I said, well, that's a lot of money. If you have, that's money that you can use later. If I'm not I'm not here. That was never an option in her mind.
She wasn't going to hear that.
No, I mean, I can't think of many people who would say.
So there was a moment where the switch flipped, and you're like, all right, I'm in.
And you know what? You know what it was? It was when so when they first diagnosed, they start doing a bunch of blood work. You get in my case, there's a blood test that you can do ahead of time and do preventative care, but nobody ever does it. It's called CA-19-9, and that blood test indicates how many cancer cells are floating around in your body. Or in normal people, it's less than 35. The number is 35. Now, what the units are, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
35 is the number you want to be below.
You want to be below 35. Mine was over 1,000 when I got the diagnosis. And then they run it every single time you go in for your chemo treatment. For me, it was every 2 weeks. So I get a week on Wednesday. I get a first treatment. Then they put you on a pump. It lasts for 2 more days. So it's 42 hours of this one drug. You go in, you're like, yeah, I feel great. And then you leave, and you're like, holy cow, I must have been poisoned by somebody. And then
what kind of feeling? I mean, is it just a drained, exhausted feeling, or is it like the flu? Is it feverish? Is it?
It's a great question. This is almost exactly what my son asked me last night. He's like, I'm trying to figure out how you felt. Is it like the flu? I said, no, it's
hangover.
It's almost like a hangover, but you don't have the hangover. You have the effects of I can't do anything. Like your energy level is real low.
Yeah, you're
fighting
physically hangover. You can power through it.
Do you have nausea?
No, I didn't have the nausea that a lot of people had. Okay. What I had was tremendous like stomach cramps, as it attacked everything in your stomach. Your GI tract was destroyed, and it was incredible tiredness. You could just feel like I want to do something. My mind's telling me I can do something, but my body's saying otherwise. Yeah. It's almost like being sick, but you're not sick. You can clearly tell, like, I don't have a head cold. I don't have a sore throat. I don't have any of these things, but I can't do anything either.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing though, because you kept pace with work. As two guys that worked for you, I mean,
wouldn't even really know other than just your treatment days.
And I mean, I can't imagine, like, was that more like, you just had to take a nap every so often?
Oh, yeah.
And just,
Oh, yeah. I know, like, you would call me and I'm like, I'm going to get through this. And then I remember, like, I could power through it.
2 hours later.
I'm like, I'll get as soon as we hang up, we'll take care of this. And I'm like, boom, out.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, I'm like, okay, I can take care of it. But I'll tell you, like, going back when I went in for the second treatment is when my mindset kind of changed, because then they ran that blood test again and it was 550.
Oh, I'm like, so you're like, hey, wait a minute, progress.
I was like, whoa. Yeah. I was like, all right. So I asked the doctor, I'm like, what's this mean? He's like, well,
don't get excited.
Yeah, don't get too excited. Like, I said, well, do people drop like this? He's like, I've never seen it. I'm like, oh, so it is unique.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't really know what to make of it because we haven't seen it. And then the next treatment, it was 250. I'm like, well, if we just keep cutting this thing in half,
they're just
I'll
pros.
be at 35 in no time.
They're pros in just like not giving you any emotion one way or the other.
You know, when it took all the way till, remember, this is the beginning of September. It took all the way till just before Christmas. When I was here in Jackson for a leadership meeting, I had a one-on-one with my doctor virtually. And he gets on the phone. He goes, all right, this is the best call I've had all day. He goes, I know I've been like keeping you at arm's length in terms of saying like you're on the upswing. He goes, but I don't know how to sugarcoat this. Like, you did something that nobody has ever done, which is you have no more tumors in you except for your main tumor. Now, to put it into perspective, when I started, it was the size of a softball, the main tumor. Little tumors all over the place were smaller than that, obviously, a lot smaller than that. Pennies, quarters in some cases. Yeah. But a softball size sitting in the center, now I understood why I was having so much back pain. I think it was pressing up against
your
my spine.
nerves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
your discs and everything.
When I finished the treatment, I had no tumors anywhere else, but my main tumor was now the size of a golf ball. So significantly smaller. But the thing about pancreatic cancer is there's only a couple of treatments that they can use. And once you start beating your body up with the chemo, you can't really beat it up too much more.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to get opened up. It's almost like if they go in and that thing hits air, it just goes like wildfire.
It does. And they were saying like if we cut you open, which they couldn't do anyway because my tumor was surrounded by some veins, and they won't do any surgery unless there's less than 180 degrees of coverage.
Clear.
And mine was, it said greater than 180 degrees on each of these three main veins. And I won't try to bore you with that information. I wouldn't be able to get it right anyway. I couldn't pronounce the one cancer.
But they immediately knew inoperable.
Inoperable. I mean, that's first thing the guy said, and they've been stuck with it ever since. In fact, one of the doctors is like, look, somebody will definitely try to operate on it. And whenever that person says that, you should run the other direction. It was interesting. They all said, like, get a second opinion, get a third opinion.
They were telling you,
please go do it. The Cleveland Clinic is known for a lot of things. They're not known for pancreatic cancer. They do the standard treatment, standard course of care. So their suggestion was to go see either MD Anderson in Houston or Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York City. I saw Sloan Kettering really quickly, to which they said, like, yeah, you're on the right track. Like, we wouldn't do anything any different. Call us, like, when you're all done. Like, oh. MD Anderson was so busy that I didn't get in there until after my first scans. And that's when I learned, this is how you do a second opinion. Now they can see your scans, they can see what you're doing, and then they can give you an alternative course of treatment should you continue on the progress or not progress the way that they expected.
Yeah.
Which I didn't progress the way they expected because they expected to bury me. So, wow. So when they all came out, that's when MD Anderson's like, you know what? We have this new treatment. We do it. We have the protocols. We invented it. We have the equipment. We'll kill the rest of your tumor with this high dose radiation.
That's what you went to Houston for.
That's what I was in Houston for 3 weeks doing every day. Yep. And I didn't feel anything, even though they told me.
I was going to say, how did the radiation compare to chemo?
It was night and day. Like I didn't have any issues. Like they had.
You were exercising.
I was. Yeah. So at one point, like I was like, well, they had told me like, well, you won't be as tired if you exercise. I'm like, well, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah.
See you later. And so I used to park the car like far away and walk through, 3 miles to it and just do whatever I could to get the exercise in, which is what I would recommend to anybody who's going through treatment is like, you got to get off your butt and get going.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, whenever this pain in your back and your bowels, I can remember, like one of the first times I met you, you had to stand up.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't do this.
No.
Yeah.
Couldn't do this. I would do a catcher's squat, like anything to try to keep my back stretched.
Yeah.
Is what I needed to do.
So was that a pain that was all the time, like 24/7?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, boy, it's really bad today, and boy, today it feels a little bit better. I don't know what it could be. It was continually worse.
It was continually worse. The more I sat, the worse it would get. But I was popping like ibuprofen like candy.
Yeah.
So that's where it led me to think that, maybe it's an ulcer. I just burned a hole in my stomach because I hadn't been keeping track of it.
Yeah.
So like when you're on chemo, it depletes your body because it's killing everything, right?
Kills everything.
To kill
kills all your red blood cells, all your platelets.
I mean, so your body, you got to feel bad, of course, but like, was there anything you did to like counteract it? Like, did you eat anything special? Take any certain supplements? Is there anything that you can do to try to help your body?
I tried to get him to fast.
I was like, you should try this like 7-day fast, like try some of these other. So there's a real nice website called pancan.org, and they have a lot of good information. And then the nice thing about getting cancer is that the doctors will set you up with anybody and everybody. It looks like from a dietitian to palliative care, which, like that lady came in and I was like, dude, I'm not dying. What do I need you for?
Yeah, right.
And she's like, well, we manage pain and we manage like the side effects. That's what we do. And then if you need us because you can't beat it, then we come in and help you like, with the palliative care style on the end.
But was that stuff helpful?
So the diet was helpful because my side effects for me were GI based. And so I was, they gave me high protein foods that I could digest, but no like leafy green vegetables, no like salads, no red meat. No red meat they loved.
Really?
They really preferred chicken and pork, but red meat they like too.
I figured anything slow digesting like those leafy greens, they would. And then I think red meat's a little slower.
It might be, but they like the protein. The protein was what they really wanted because at the time, like,
why did they want the protein?
Because the pancreas was having a hard time processing, like the enzymes that the pancreas excretes so that you can process your food. It was having a hard time doing it, so I had to double and triple up like the things that I would eat just so I could process enough of it to keep the weight on.
Did you have blood sugar issues during this with the pancreas being?
That's a good question. I didn't.
Okay.
But I know that there's people that do.
Okay.
For whatever reason, that part of my pancreas wasn't blocked. The part that was blocked, and what we didn't talk about earlier, is the massive weight loss after the scans. Like I dropped, I think 35 pounds in a matter of about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Like it came off in a hurry. To which, like, we were talking, we were kind of joking. We're like, hey, I got this weight loss contest. I'm like, I got a plan.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't like that. I don't want that plan.
I'll take it the hard way.
Yeah. That's a surefire diet.
Yeah.
But not good.
Yeah, you'll win every time.
Yeah.
You want to
the cancer diet.
35 and 3.5 weeks. So at that point in time, your body's going through lots of changes aside from this.
Yes.
You know, your sleep's different. Your just whole day of energy is different. I mean,
I'm not a napper kind of guy. I think my son, when he was like 2 or 3 years old, announced to the daycare that he's a non-napper, and then he goes to the non-napper room just like his dad. Dad doesn't nap. I'm not napping. Yeah. But I had to nap here. I couldn't get if I didn't take a nap, what would happen is like I couldn't handle the GI cramping would be unsustainable. It's almost like, imagine when you're kind of sick and you can usually power through the whole day, and then towards the end of the day you're like, oh,
I'm going to go lay down.
Yeah, I got to lay down because you finally ran out. That would be every day on this chemo, unless you took a nap to get like a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
But what I found was the diet, like going back to like the high protein, rice, pasta, which I'm Italian, so can't beat like meatballs and pasta.
Yeah.
Anything with acid, like the tomato sauce, even lemon heads, things like that were really actually helpful, because the chemo gave you such a nasty taste that everything changed how it tastes. And so the acid-based stuff, citrus, Lemonhead candy, Sour Patch Kids, all of those things like really helped a lot, like kind of like counteracting like the way it tastes. Even today, like my mom's chicken soup was my favorite. As soon as I smell it, I'm out. Like,
can't do it.
I can't do it, because that's what I was trying to do right at the beginning, is just use that. And that.
How long did it take you for this to become the new normal? I mean, the thing that I'm very impressed by, and tell me I'm wrong, but like I did not see you ever sit around and feel sorry for yourself, which I think would be very easy to do given that diagnosis.
I'll answer that one in a second, because I have some really things that worked for me that I discovered. Okay. And I'm not a music guy. I know you guys are music guys. I've never really been a music guy. It's like, if you were to give me some basic music trivia, things like, as simple as like, who sung Born in the USA? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
That was always me.
Yeah.
But what I discovered was, if I didn't have a track playing or something, like I made a mix on Amazon Music called, Scott's Mindset Mix. And it's a mix of songs that my kids might listen to, songs that you might get yourself up
feel good
for,
songs.
like feel good songs, but something that you might get up for if you're going to have a race, or if you have like a big competition, something that I would have those. And then I would have stuff that would remind me of those things. And I just kept building the list out. And if I played it, it almost put guardrails up that allowed me to stay focused and stay positive. Otherwise I'd be like, what am I doing here? Like, am I just like prolonging this agony?
Yeah.
And then people would tell me like, well, you don't know, like you could walk outside and get hit by a bus. Like, like right now I'm like, it's not quite the same, right? Like nobody expects to walk outside and get hit by a bus. Yeah. But when you have this diagnosis, you're thinking, well, how long do I really have to live?
Right.
And it took a series of, I call it stacking wins. I had to keep beating the odds that the doctor had said. And I had to keep exercising. I had to keep measuring myself against the previous day. So whatever it was, I was trying to compete against something and win. Yeah. And then I would keep my mindset high. Do
you just attribute that to maybe lifelong competition and stuff like that? Or was it truly a mindset where you're like, all right, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. This is it. I'm gonna whip this. But don't you think that's probably something that's ingrained in you?
It is. Like I think it is. Like everybody that has done some sort of competition, whether it's track or swimming or like I did, or whether it's even football or basketball or any competition sport where there's a score, or a time, something that everybody could see, and it's in the public forum like for everybody to see how well you did.
Yeah.
Those people have it ingrained in them to do their best.
Right. Right.
And so you want to do your best. You want to compete. You have to figure out what the game is.
Sure.
And that's what it took. And then you realize like there's so many people that want you around.
Oh yeah.
Now it's becomes because I'm sure
I think that would be the hardest part. I mean, I don't know. I wanted to ask you about it. Tell me shut up if I need to. But like for me, I would think, man, looking at my kids and stuff and watching how they take it when I give them that news. Like
so
that had to not be an easy deal, man.
It wasn't an easy deal. In fact, they were looking at me to see how I reacted to telling them. If I had cried, then they would have probably, and I did cry a little bit, but if I had given them a belief that I wasn't going to fight it, then I think they probably would have took it a lot differently than they did.
Right.
Now, I think it was my son early on said something like, well, Dad, you're just built different. He was like, I've never seen you lose. He goes, so you're going to lose now?
See, and that's got to help too.
It helps.
That's got to help the
I'm thinking
mindset.
like, I've lost plenty of stuff. Like, just ask the people that I play poker with.
But not to your boy. Not to your boy, though. They look at it different.
Yeah.
They look at it different. Now, my daughter, she said all the right things, but then she wanted to quit everything. Like, I'm a horse owner, and it's terrible. Like, bad investment. If I could tell anybody, like, don't do it.
It's costing more money than the cancer treatment.
Isn't that typically the way it goes with horses?
Yep.
Yeah, I dodged that bullet.
So she's like, I don't want to ride the horse anymore. I said, what? And then she's like, I don't care about softball anymore. And I was like. And then I realized the softball thing was because that was what we used to do. I taught her how to throw, taught her how to hit, taught her how to play the game. I said, well, don't you like it? She's like, well, I do, but I'm not doing it if you're not there. I said, well, why wouldn't I be there?
Right.
She's like, well, I mean, you said like it's 2 years. I'm like, they don't know me.
Yeah.
They know what the cancer is, but they don't know me.
Yeah. Let's not proceed with that being the.
Yeah. So. It was interesting. It took her a couple of months to figure it out, and then all of a sudden, she
just kind of clicked. Like, well, Dad's got this.
Yeah,
I mean,
she got to see me on my worst days, right as soon as the treatment was over, and then she saw me on the best days, and she saw me out running. I tried to run right up until the end, it finally zapped me, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Well, there comes a point you're probably taking it in reverse.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
All the positive gains from like getting out there and getting the blood flowing, like get reversed real quick when you try to when you take your heart rate up too high.
Oh yeah.
But no, that was a seeing them and seeing like, you know what, I kind of want to see them grow up. I kind of want to see them get their first jobs. I kind of want to see them be successful. I want to see them be better than me. I want to see them get married if they so choose. I like to be there to see that.
Sure.
If they want to have kids, that would be nice to see. And
as
long as it doesn't crimp my style.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. Well, I mean, the grandkids, that's way, I think that's perfect. I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Just give them back.
Yes.
That'll be kind of fun. Yeah. But like, there had to be a point. Was there a point in this process? Like, do you go through different phases and emotions? Like, I'm sure there was anger, right? Early on, you're thinking like, man, this isn't fair.
Yes, there was a lot of anger. There was a lot of anger as like, why me?
Yeah.
Like, my mom's like, you have to trust God's process.
Yeah, and you're mad at God.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I promised her I wouldn't say anything bad, but I won't. So I won't tell you exactly what I said.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it usually started with an F and ended in a K.
Yeah.
But so I was very mad, and then I started thinking about it again, and I was like, the doctor told me 62,000 people a year get this cancer. I said, all right, well, this isn't great odds. Like, why the heck did I get it?
Right.
And I thought, all right, well, if I look at my family and all the people that could possibly get it in my family, I would be the one that I would trust the most to be able to have a chance to beat it. So I'm like, okay, if that's what the plan is, then somebody had to get it. I'll take that I'll take that money.
Yep.
I'll take those odds. I could beat it. Can my parents beat it? No. My brother probably not. Like my cousins, my kids maybe, but I don't want them to see it. Like no parent. And when my parents said that to me is when I realized why they were so upset. It's like, if anything, like they're like, we lived our life. We'll take care of it.
They would trade places with you right now. Probably.
Right now in a hurry.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to be I mean, when something like that happens and you get diagnosed like that, you talked about how you tried to win every day.
Yeah.
Well, the struggle is not trying to win every day. It's keeping your mindset right to where, like if you're not in the right mindset, I mean, especially as guys get older, I can't speak about girls, but, as guys get older, you may lose a little bit of that competition edge. You may say, what, I've competed enough. I mean, it's...
There is those days, right? The days where you're like, I don't really have to win today.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can take this loss. It's okay. Like, it doesn't mean that much to me.
Well, in that case, it does.
In this, so that's when I had to switch. Yeah, exactly. This is life or death. And that's really where I struggled because sometimes I'm a pretty competitive person, but I would say not hyper competitive. I don't have to win everything. If I like, this is fun. Like I'll just have fun doing this. I don't need to actually win.
Right.
So usually like, especially, and everybody does it. As soon as you see yourself losing, you're like, it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
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 I give it the college try. But this one you're like, the college try is no good. Like you have
life or death.
Life or death.
So
you have to win.
Did you pass through that anger phase pretty quickly, or did you just use it?
I used it.
Okay.
I used it, and then it passed probably when my that CA 19.9 number got under 100. Okay. Once it got under 100, I was like, why am I angry? Like clearly I'm doing something nobody else does. Right. So I can't be mad at God anymore if God has anything to do with this.
Right.
Did he give me the body and have me do 50 or 40 years of being in shape? Like doing everything that I could? Probably. Because without what I would call a full tank of gas, you have no chance of getting through 6 months of that chemo regimen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's amazing too. Like if you're sitting where you are now, looking at this, you're talking to people that are getting diagnosed last week.
Yeah.
What in the world do you tell a person? Like if they're a guy that maybe hasn't taken care of their body. I mean, obviously, if I'm hearing you right, that had a big
I think
difference.
it's a huge difference because I was able to exercise. I was able to take the full dose. What they had told me is after 3 months, most people can't take much of it anymore, so they start backing off treatment. They start backing off because your body can't take it. And when you're backing it off, you're also not killing the tumor. Yeah. So there was once I figured out what the game was, which was you have this regimen, and once you're done with this regimen, they put you on a lower dose regimen. And if the full dose regimen didn't work, the lower dose regimen's not going to be great. Yeah. So I was like, well, I got to get on my horse. Really?
Yeah.
Not the horse that I pay for.
Yeah.
And I have to get going. Like, cause you only have a certain amount of time and then you're out of time.
Yeah.
Now since then there's been a lot of great progress, around different new treatments that are available, that we've had in our company have the chance to like really help out doing. But what I usually tell people is the chemo is going to make you feel like crap. It really will. I said, but you have to find yourself a friend who's going to be your coach. Somebody who's not going to take you saying, I need to sit on the couch. I don't care if you're in shape or out of shape. You got to get up and you got to walk around the block, period. Yeah. Like, some people have said like, you have to make sure that you up with your pain medication because if you're trying to fight pain, you're not able to have the right mindset for cancer. That's everybody. I'm not quite like that. I like if I could feel the pain and I could feel the pain subsiding, then I feel like I'm winning. If the pain's always mass and I don't have enough information, that's me. But I know that that's not how most people are like, I'd like to just get that out of the way and let me focus on this one thing. I don't need all these other pieces of information. So I always say like, find a coach, a friend who's not going to take your no for an answer. and going to drag you off the couch unless you're dying.
Yeah,
like literally dying.
Right.
And you're not going to be dying after the first treatment.
Right.
So get up there and get out and start making it a process, making it a habit. And what I found is that like, if you're able to do that, you're able to get a lot of goodness out of that. You're able to say like, well, I got around the block. I didn't think I could do that. It's a win.
Sense of accomplishment. Yeah, you're stacking wins.
Now you're stacking wins.
Yeah,
and that's usually the first thing I usually tell people. And the second thing is like, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna be on the toilet a lot, so plan your day around it. Sorry, like some of the things you might be able to do, like you better hope it has a nice bathroom where you're gonna go.
Yeah. Plan ahead.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it sounds like you adapt to that. Now,
and that became a new normal pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, and here we are now. What's the next step?
Honestly, I don't know. Like that's
okay.
That's one of the things like we were talking about earlier today when I said like I get my next set of scans are April 10th.
Okay.
Actually, they're April 9th, but then they get read on April 10th. I don't know what they'll find. Probably nothing because I would guess that it'd be too fast for it to come back if it could come back because what I was told is it comes back in 90% of people, but not me. I'm like, well, what's that mean? It's like, I don't know, maybe it's 40%. I'm like, well, it's still pretty high.
Right.
So
right.
we're going to go with like a preventative. They're like, yes, that's what we want to do.
So if you feel your back or something start to hurt, you're going.
Yeah, but I think it won't come to that because they'll see it right away because my scans will be every 3 months.
I'm saying like right now.
Now, if my back was hurting, I'd be like,
yeah,
I'm out of here. Like,
yeah,
I would know. Like, but I could tell you right now, I feel like other than the fact that I'm still getting my wind back, the way I feel sitting around is the way I felt like well over a year ago.
That was my question. Like, do you feel as though you're starting to feel back to normal?
100%.
You're looking at it.
Yeah.
You're getting it back.
Yeah,
like,
getting it back.
There was a time whenever you could tell, like, he's under a lot.
Now I can't we have like a mini home gym in the basement, and I went and grabbed like the barbells. I'm like, ooh, it's
not quite there yet.
No, not quite there yet. That was kind of embarrassing, and then my son's like, you might need to start a little lighter, Dad. Here's some 10-pound like little.
Yeah. Hey, start wherever you got to.
Yeah, that's right.
It used to be like embarrassed by it. Now I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, I'll
start
someplace else.
No. So April 9th, they're gonna do them on the 9th, read them on the 10th.
Yep.
And then depending on whatever they say at that is what your action plan is.
Yeah.
Forward.
So the action plan could be a low dose
maintenance chemo,
which is kind of like. So I look at chemo as kind of like Roundup, right? Like you have these weeds in your yard.
Probably the same thing if you think about it.
It's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
It just wipes everything out. Like it doesn't indiscriminate. It'll wipe out
right.
red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and cancer cells. Anything that's like fast growing, it wipes out.
How long can you take that? Because, I mean, just like Roundup, you go spraying Roundup on everything for a while. Next thing you know, you just kind of got a slime on top.
Yes. And so for me, I have to, like, what I'm working on now is trying to get back fit, hoping that my red blood cells go up and hoping that my platelets go up. They're coming up very slowly. So probably not much because that 6 months really beat them up pretty bad.
Yeah. Because you were able to take the full.
They never backed anything off.
Yeah.
Which
is good and bad.
It's good and bad. Like bad in that, like, ooh, like I probably could have used some extra time. Like,
yeah.
But, so I could go on that. If they find something, they said we might just do some radiation again and just kill those new smaller tumors if they pop up somehow. Or there's a new regimen called KRAS, and it's imagine like your tumor's a light. This is and it's actually it doesn't have to be a tumor. Your cells in your body essentially have a light switch. They know when to multiply. They know when not to multiply. Cancer cells don't do that. They just multiply.
Yeah.
And so this drug attacks the cancer cells and shuts off that light switch so they don't multiply anymore. And it specifically targets it. It's got FDA fast track. The expectation is in June or July that it will get full approval. And then I could take that for conceivably forever.
I mean, you have probably gotten a tour of American medicine in this and the advances that are being made that you never wanted, but it is quite amazing though, isn't it?
It's so, there's the amazing part. And then there's if my sister-in-law and brother-in-law weren't, in the healthcare profession,
you've been lost.
I wouldn't know what to do. Like I walked, how to be an advocate for yourself, because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. All the tools are there, but it's up to you to know which button to push and and what to ask for so that you can get it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you could be totally lost. And I think that
would be a bad spiral, to be lost and dying.
And then knowing like, oh, you can get a second opinion. And then that's where it stops.
Where?
Like, where? You know, like the one person I was helping, he's like, oh, I'm in Akron, I'll go to Cleveland. I'm like, no, man, like
that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. You have to we have to talk about like going to the top places who are doing the clinical trials that on things that aren't chemo related. The top places that are doing some of these new these new ideas to get more tools in the bag to be able to work to prolong your life until there's something that can shut that cancer off, especially since it keeps popping up and popping up and popping up.
So you had those advisors saying, hey, man, this is where you need to go.
I did. My wife did a ton of work, a ton of research. That was her thing. She did all the research. I could tell you I've been to that pancan.org 5 times maybe. She's on it all the time. She gets all kinds of updates. She showed up to one of our visits with 125 clinical trials that I should be eligible for and handed it to the oncologist. And the guy's like, hold on. He pulls out his yellow highlighter and he's like, nope, not that one. And she's like, why? And he gave an answer. Things like, oh, it's closed, or doesn't quite fit as this. It doesn't have this marker. Whatever it was, he had it, and it was down to like 25. He's like, this is perfect. And these are all, we're not doing any of them. They're doing them at MD Anderson. They're doing it at Sloan Kettering. They're doing them at Fred Hutch. Whatever it is, that this is where these are located, but we're not doing them.
Yeah.
So go talk to them. Let them know who you are. They'd be super excited to have you because you're in a demographic they don't have, which is younger.
How accepting are they? Like, can you call up MD Anderson, send them your file, and they'll look at it and like, oh yeah, this guy qualifies great.
Yeah. Well, first thing they do is they're like, you have to come and meet us, and then they do essentially the same thing that you just did at your primary care. And then they said then in MD Anderson's case, they say, we need you to do your scans here. Like, what's the difference between your scans and the scans I just got? Our equipment's better.
Yeah. yeah.
I'm like, how much is that going to cost?
How do they do that? Do they just take your insurance and bill that? Or?
They do. So our insurance is actually quite nice for second opinions and been quite accommodating. So it actually worked out pretty well. As long as you don't double it up, like saying like, oh, I'm going to do this scan, these scans here, and then next week I'm going to do the exact same scans again with somebody else. As long as you don't do that, they're in. So they're happy to like get second opinions. They know the hospital knows how to code it. So the nice thing about it is MD Anderson knows how to code second opinions. And so
would you say that's an easy thing to navigate? Or
that was easy. That was easy for me only because I think that our insurance made it easy.
Okay.
That was my opinion. Now, I think like some others with different insurance have had a little bit more struggle. Like they would call and say like, okay, what's covered, what's not covered. The first thing that our insurance did was say, they sent me an email that said like, hey, so sorry about your diagnosis. When you want to do second opinions, we're here to help. Do this, and we're in. And they've been super
just
simple.
Emailing you.
Just an email. It was super simple, and it was
from who?
That the United Healthcare.
Yeah, but I mean, like a person or?
Oh no, it was like an automated. Like,
okay.
It's almost like they have a code that says like, oh, this, this cat's got cancer. Like, let's send him that note so he knows where we can go get it.
All right.
Get a second opinion.
I like our insurance. I mean, I'm using it Friday.
I've never used insurance, health insurance until this, right? So, so
crash course.
Like, this is pretty fun. Like, I went to the pharmacy for the first time, and they had wanted to put me on a drug called Creon. Creon's supposed to mimic your pancreatic enzymes, and you take one before your meal and one during your meal, and it produces the enzymes and you process the food. They're like, the doctor's like, it might be kind of pricey. Just, take note of that. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So we go to the pharmacy. I had like a laundry list of stuff. My sister-in-law was with me. She's a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
And the lady's like, this Creon's going to be $5,400. I said, how many years supply?
Yeah.
And she's like, 30 days. I said,
whoa. Okay.
Again, that was, I think that was a pretty nasty outburst I had
at
that point. But so my sister.
How do they expect anybody to, you know what I mean? Like,
straight face. That's the best part.
Yeah.
The pharmacist like, $5,400 and straight. I mean, the straightest of straight faces.
Stuff made out of gold, or
So my sister-in-law's like, "Is there a copay card?" She's like, so she Googles it. And she's like, "Oh, there's a copay card. Here, Scott, fill this out." So right there on the spot, fill it out. It it gives you like a virtual card on your phone, and handed the card to the pharmacist, who turns around, goes over to the computer, codes it in. That's $5.
Unbelievable, man.
Hold a minute.
Unbelievable.
I said, why didn't you suggest that right from the start?
Yeah.
She's like, well, I didn't know there would be a copay card. I said, you knew exactly how to code it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that was the other piece I helped too, is like, hey, they're going to give you this prescription, and it could be for anything. It could be Eliquis. It could be, the blood thinner. It could be any of these drugs, any of these name brand drugs all have a copay card typically. And you just have to know where to go to navigate it, so you don't empty all of your funds at the pharmacy.
Right.
Which is that was the
well, it sounds like
that's
another trick to cancer treatment is, you have to know how to get the drugs without paying. Like, and like I got one of my close friends is a Pfizer oncology rep, and they've got a whole department that figures out how to pay for their drug.
Yeah.
Anywhere from like private funds to, stuff that they're putting back in the market, like these copay. I mean, and it's amazing, but like if you don't ask or what, you would think they would tell you. You'd think they would tell you though. Yeah.
You say, I said,
now are we going to give everybody a deal on a freezer?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But $5,400, man, that's not really a deal.
No, I said, what did my insurance cover on that? Oh, they cover about half. I said, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
I said, that little pill.
Yeah.
So
man.
I was thinking like 900 or
something. Yeah.
$1,200 a month or something. It's like, oh man, that sucks, but okay.
Yeah.
But
like if it was reasonable, probably like at 500, I'm like, whoa,
damn.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
But as soon as it went above like
$2,500, you're like, whoa.
Well, like,
it's a decent car.
Well, have you had that experience with several of the drugs? Like that you've had to look into these copay cards? Or
no,
something
just
like?
two. That one and Eliquis, the blood thinner.
Yeah.
So this cancer is supposed to be they call it a clotting cancer.
Uh-huh.
It only clots if you have any platelets. And once you don't have any platelets anymore, you're not clotting anything. So the Eliquis was more reasonable. It was $800 before the copay card.
Jeez, man.
I was like, it's a little pill. It thins your blood, and then when they stick you with the needle, you bleed for some hours.
Yeah.
I had a guy, Duke. He was on that, and heck, he fell on me down here on a walk one day during football practice. I thought he was going to bleed to death.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Hey, I said, I want to do an exercise. They're like, what kind of exercise are you going to do? I was like, well, the pounding from the running is getting to me. I think I'm just going to take my bike out. Like, no, you won't. I said, well, why not? Like, what happens if you fall? I'm like, oh, it's been years since I fell. When you do, you might bleed to death. I said, oh, okay, yeah. How about we just not use that drug then?
Yeah. Not an option.
Not an option.
Yeah.
So they fought me on a while. Like every drug they tried to put me on, every drug I tried to get off of. Like, And it got to a point where the nurses would say, like, they have a laundry list of drugs. Do you have this? I have it. Do you take it? No, I don't take that anymore. Yeah. Who decided whether or not you were going to take it or not? I said, I did. Yeah. Well, I feel like this. They're like, you see them like, they're like,
we're going to need you to take this.
Yeah.
Hey,
you're not the best. Or even worse is like, if my wife or my sister-in-law would come with me to these doctor's appointments, they would also ask leading questions to the doctor, who would then stare at me and say, is this true? Like, you're not taking it, or you're not doing this, or you have this problem? Yeah. It's not that bad. Yeah, so it also helps.
It's kind of like seeing the principal.
It is.
Yeah. Well, quickly, you're telling your wife and sister-in-law, like, hey, you guys just stay here in the waiting room.
Yeah.
I knew, like, I mean, that's the second thing that I had told for advice was, one, make sure you have a coach, and the second one is make sure you have somebody who's going to go to the appointments with you and hear what the doctor has to say without having to worry about life, death. Like, you're processing, right? Like, what does this mean?
Right.
And that's really what has helped me a lot, is that I walk out, I'm like, this is what I heard. And, you get the pages open up, right?
Oh,
She's like, actually, this is what the doctor said.
So you kind of have to have a little recap afterwards.
Where you're using Read AI as your scribe in these things.
So it was interesting. Like, so the doctor at MD Anderson was used to seeing my wife, and she every time she shows up, she sits down in the chair and she opens up her notebook, and the doctor would notice. She never said anything until when I was in Houston by myself, and then my buddies came. They came down for my birthday. They showed up, right? Yeah. They showed up in this. They showed up, and she's like, "No notebook? Where's the notebook? Who's taking notes here?"
Yeah.
And one's like, "I got it."
Yeah.
She's like, taking it on my phone.
Yeah.
She's like, "How are you gonna?" She just kind of joked. She said, "How are you gonna merge it with that notebook?"
Yeah.
And then she said, "She's like, we were taught that whenever we're giving these appointments, only 30% of what we say is retained by the patient." So I said, I think I'm better than 30. She's like, you might be close to 50 maybe, but then you don't listen to half the things that you do listen, that you do hear.
You do
whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to do that, so we won't do that.
Yeah. So we had talked a few months ago about the test beforehand. Like, was it a genealogy test or?
So right at the start, once they diagnose you, the first thing they do is they do a genetics test. They want to find out all the different markers that might allow immunotherapies to be used. They want to see, like, is there other markers that some of the other new drugs might work for? But then they also want to see, is it hereditary? Are you going to pass some gene to your kids, or did you get it from your parents or somebody in the family? So I was lucky enough to have it be completely random. I'm like, what's completely random? Like, well, just your body just lined up and decided to make
just
cancer.
Happens. Yeah.
I'm like, and it happens 62,000 times a year to different people. It seems a little bit strange to me, like what goes into. So I kept trying to figure out what goes into these.
Yeah.
And like, how do you get cancer? Like, did I drink something? Did I eat something?
Is it environmental?
Did I have too many fillet of fishes when I was growing up at McDonald's? I don't know what it was. Yeah. And they're like, does it matter? I'm like, it kind of does. Because if we can
be good to know.
If we can say, like, it doesn't matter for me, but if I can say,
to your kids, hey,
kids, don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't eat this. Don't reheat like your dinner in the plastic Tupperware in the microwave. I don't know what it is. Like,
yeah. It could be anything. It could be the water. It could be the water. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, everything's just got so many chemicals in it nowadays. There's nothing that's probably not tainted.
Well, and a lot of it could be like where you live geographically. Down here, we're close to the
nuclear fission plant. Yeah.
I don't know.
We have a lot higher rate down here just from that.
From that?
Yeah.
Well, everybody's always said that. I mean,
I heard like, high power, power lines,
frequency lines.
frequency lines. Like I hear that too.
I could see that doing a tumor with like all that radioactive stuff going around you, like I could see that popping up cancer or something. I don't know.
But in the end, like I was lucky to be, that's totally random. So nothing to my kids, which is great. Nothing that my parents had. My parents were like devastated.
When would you recommend people go get that test? I mean, obviously.
So the blood. So that test only happens when you have a tumor. But I'm saying like preventative stuff. So preventative stuff.
Like if you're me and Chad and you're saying, boys, you're what, 52?
Yeah.
I'm 45.
And I'm 51. So I would say, with the numbers of people that are getting this cancer earlier and earlier, and it's a simple blood test to see, like that CA19-9 is the one test that they'll do. And it's not definitive, but if you have a high number, they'll want to look at something else.
Yeah.
Can you request that as a full blood panel?
You can.
Like or do you have to request it? That's not probably included in a full blood
expensive?
panel.
Is it like super expensive?
I think honestly, I don't know what it actually costs. But I think like, one of our friends, Chris, was telling us.
Yeah. He just did that.
He just did it. He's like,
job.
because he's like, for his new job, they gave him a full blown health panel, and you can add on. They don't pay for it, but they add on these other cancers, and one of them was that test. And I think he told me it was like $600, $700, something like that. But what I found was, if at least up by me, one of the hospitals offers a quick scan MRI for if you have relatives, or if you tell them like, hey, I have a relative that had pancreatic cancer or colon cancer or one of the other GI-based cancers. They'll do a quick scan because there isn't really anything. They'll do a quick scan MRI for a couple $100 just to say like, you're clean, you're not clean, or this looks like something we should probably investigate. I think that's one of the things that Next Health was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is with that. They had like a genealogy type of DNA test.
So I looked at that, right, and I think about like last year, and I see that I saw the ad in the New York Times, and I was like, oh, for like $8,000 or something like that, I can get this scan and have it regularly done. And what I have a year ago, what I've spent it, I'm like, nah, I'm healthy. Like, look, I do all this exercise.
I ain't feeling nothing.
Now I'm like, that thing's like relatively free compared to like.
Well, you just wonder if.
Would it have
preventative care? Do you think it'll continue to go deeper and deeper?
Well, would you if you'd have done that a year prior? Would have seen it?
Maybe, and it would have caught it to the point where they wouldn't have had to do all this extra stuff because they would have either surgically removed it, or they would have attacked it specifically with radiation, and then it would have been done because it wouldn't have
killed it as a baby.
It would killed it as a baby. It wouldn't have spread to other places. Yeah. What the way it was explained to me is like you killed all like the plants, you killed all the tumors, but the seeds, the roots are there, the seeds are still there. Like they could sprout again. Mm-hmm. We don't know what makes them sprout, but they could sprout.
You killed it on the surface.
Killed everything. So now we just have to watch. But if you catch it early on,
kill the seeds.
Kill the seeds, pull it right out, and you're done.
They didn't tell you how long like that tumor had been growing. They probably don't know.
They don't know. All we know is that like it was fairly fast growing.
Did it grow during this? Did it grow in that 10-day period? Like the 10 day before your action plan. Like did it?
So that's a good question, and they never would answer that question. But what they did tell me early on is they said like, if you ever need a break to make a memory, we'll give you a week or two off. We'll miss it. We'll skip a treatment week and we'll let you go do that. Like if you want to go to like on a vacation with your family. So when I was starting to get bad, like around month 3 or 4, I said, I'd like to take a 1 week break. And they're like, not a chance in hell. Yeah. I said, what do you mean? You told me early on.
You told me about that.
And I said, like, those are for people that aren't winning.
Yeah, we're not going to give it a chance.
You're not going to give it a chance.
Like they said, go make you some memories.
Yeah, make a memory.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why? If it's only a week, like, if we have it on the if we have it on the ropes and you take a week off and it starts to come back, maybe it takes over. Yeah. Maybe it gets enough momentum that you can't. So there wasn't a there. What I quickly learned was that they don't. everybody's body's responds differently. Everybody's tumor responds differently. They have a general idea of what might be happening, and they have a general plan. But imagine saying like, "Hey kids, let's go take a road trip," and they're like, "Where?" And they're like, "I don't know. We're just gonna head south. Not sure where we're going yet, but we'll see. Like, our goal is to like see some water." And you're like, "All right, is that the Gulf? Is that the Atlantic? Is this a river?" No idea. And that's kind of what's going on here. It's like they try stuff. Does it work? Does it not work? Some people do the exact same treatment as me and their CA-19-9 goes higher. Like the tumor just laughs at the chemo and moves on.
It's amazing.
But nothing's probably, even, we all deal with clinical research and trials all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think anything bad is going to, typically, it might not work, but it really didn't do anything bad.
Right, correct.
That's the kind of
That's what I think. That's what they always say.
Yeah.
They had listed like a couple of different things, like don't bother trying. Like they're like, there's vitamin C doesn't work.
Ivermectin.
I asked that question, and the guy and the oncologist is like, "Who asked that question? What you been listening to?"
Did you say this fat guy at work, this fat ginger?
No, I said
on my one-on-ones.
I said, well, I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there, plenty of information out there. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I said I keep hearing that because it's generic and readily available, that no one's actually done the testing to see if it would actually work. So people that have tried it and it works, does it work? He's like, I don't know. He's like, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I have never seen the research that says it does, and I've never seen the research that says it doesn't.
There is no research.
There's no research. Yeah. His point was, he's like,
it's $8.
It's $8.
It's $8 at Tractor Supply.
It's a heck of a lot cheaper than chemo treatment.
It's not $5,400.
No. Like you can, it's probably more like $2 because you can get like a 200, like you buy it up for 1,000-pound animal. So, I mean, you could use that 5 times for $8.99. I mean, yeah.
I'll tell you, if you get the vet to get it for you, it's not $8.99.
Really?
There's no decimal point. It might be $8.99, but there's no decimal point. The decimal point's after the not.
You gotta get Tractor Supply. You gotta get that glass box. Yeah.
His point is no one's done the research to say yay or nay, and he's like, if it's what's working for you is what we've done the research on, why would you mess around with it?
Right.
Which is why I never tried it. So I can't say that it doesn't work.
Did you do any research into like alternative methods of?
It was on my list of things to do, but because
this worked,
I didn't, and it was working quickly. I was like, all right. What I spent most of my time doing is what do we do after this?
Right.
Like, what clinical trials are needed after this?
Right.
Like, or what drugs are out there that I can use that won't kill the rest of my blood?
Right.
Because you can't do it for forever.
Yeah. Oh. I was wondering, like, how long can you take that chemo? I mean, obviously you don't want to go every week, but I mean.
So they told me that if we can stay away, if we can keep clean for a year, they can do that chemo again. And so it takes about a year to like your
Get
body
you
to
back
recover.
to normal. Yeah.
I should have probably listened to that one and say like, oh, a year. I thought there was some other reason, but I can tell you, I don't want to do that one again. That was
Not looking forward to that.
No, that was a little rough. Even now, like most of the side effects are reversible as soon as you get off of it, but one of them's not, and that's numbness in your toes and your fingers. And I didn't feel anything until after the last treatment. The last treatment's when it was like, oh, what's that? Like a little bit, like you might see me doing this occasionally because it feels like my hands are stiff or
asleep.
Or asleep. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the last step before they fully wake up. You know, like when your hand falls asleep or something, you're like, oh,
that tingle.
Yeah. And then the last step before it gets up, everything feels kind of stiff. That's it. So every once in a while, you might see me walking around.
So will you have that then forever?
That's what they said.
Okay.
Now, I wonder how much of it's mental and how much of it's
right.
You'll develop a habit after a while.
Yeah. I mean, I drop things a lot more than I used to. I'll be walking around and all of a sudden, like, there goes my phone, right? Or writing things like holding a pen for too long.
Kills you right through here. Yeah.
Kills. Like I'm not in writing shape. So if I write like a birthday card and I want to write like a small note or something, like, oh.
I don't think anybody is anymore. I don't know why we have pencils. I mean, who's writing stuff? Text it, type it.
I was like, I think I'll do from now on. I'm just going to send the card with nothing in it.
There you go.
I'll send a text. Like, hey, I sent you this card. This is what I was going to write in it.
Open the card and then read this text. Yeah.
We got anything else you want to tell us, man? It's been an hour and 10 minutes. We usually try to.
I would say this. Everybody that's listening should consider getting screened regularly, once a year. Make sure you go to the doctor. Request these
different screens.
Different screens. Make sure you request, obviously do your Cologuard, or have your full-on colonoscopy. That's that's kind of the standard for us men. But these other cancers are every bit as dangerous, if not more so. And there's no pre-screening tools for them that are regularly accepted. So work to try to get your blood test done. It's a simple test. It's not definitive, but at least it's a indicator of what might be going on. It's never going to be below 35 if you have something. It'll always be, if it's higher, it doesn't mean that you have it, but at least it's something that they can now go check with a scan.
Yep.
And had I knew about that, I had done it and it caught it early enough because I was just in for my physical in November, before. So they would have found it for sure. My number would have been up a little high. And then they would have scanned and seen something way before, because these cancers, they build up, but there's so much space in your stomach that they have plenty of room to grow and expand and land and go other places before you can even feel it. Yeah. Unlike some of the skin cancers or maybe a brain cancer or even a lung cancer, you're feeling it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Not there. So I would say that would be what I tell my family, do it for me. If this journey for me is for anything, it's hopefully other people can see it and then go get screened.
Yeah.
And then catch the stuff early, because a 95% kill rate is we can beat it if we can catch it early. But nobody ever catches it early enough.
Yeah.
So
well, and I mean, this story is going very well right now. And, hopefully we can come back here and talk about, get an update, man.
We're going to put you on the book. So
it's no problem.
Yeah.
If I can, as we discover more and more, treatments and screening tools, love to help try to make those mainstream for people to take.
Yeah.
I know there's some tools that are coming or people are experimenting with, but it's almost like the insurance companies, and maybe it's not always them, but insurance companies and the physicians don't want a screening tool that isn't definitive.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you can get a triage and say well, you definitely don't have it because your number is really low, but your number is a little higher, maybe you might have something. Let's do something else. I think that's good enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least today.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So.
Oh, well, man, I tell you, I'm like Chad said, man, I'm super impressed. I don't know how you've made it. I mean, me neither. We've kind of talked on the side man, this guy, he's an animal over here.
Yeah.
Because especially now after hearing the story, and I mean, I've lived with it or lived, through it with you kind of, and so's Chad. And I guess until today, I probably didn't realize how taxing it probably really was. I guess, and for you to do that with a straight face. I mean, I can honestly say never one time did I ever think that ooh boy, Scott's not looking good.
No.
Now there were some times I could tell you were whipped, but I never one time said, man, this ain't looking good. Never once.
Well, and I mean, I appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on here and sharing.
Yes.
I mean, that's not something that's the easiest.
It's not an easy thing to talk about.
No, there's, the one funny story that I had is so I used to, when I did my chemo treatment, they were always, at first, there was private rooms, and then I get them done closer to my house, and it's not private rooms at that point. It's all kind of open with curtains. And I brought my laptop with me. I was on calls, and some of our teammates would call me, and they would, I need this discount, and then if I'm like, so, I might throw out a couple F-bombs. I'm doing these damn discounts.
Yeah, I'll be here taking treatments. Yeah.
The nurses are like, oh, this is gonna be a day for Scott. We can tell already.
Yeah.
They'd often put people who were having a hard time near me.
Yeah.
One of the funny stories, I'll tell you, this is pretty good. Like, this woman sits down behind me. So I was always in the last bay, and my chair was like this. It was like a recliner that, I just work on my laptop, and behind me, there was another chair right behind me. And sometimes there's a curtain they would close, but most of the time they didn't. And this woman sits down. She couldn't have been much older than me. And the nurse is like, "How are you feeling today?" She's like, "Oh, a lot of pain." Now, it's all different kinds of cancers, different kinds of treatments there. They're like, "What's your pain?" She's like, 10. And I was like, put my laptop down, I turn around, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me. 10 out of 10? She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Are you dead?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, no." I'm like, "That's dead. Look on the sheet up here. I'm dying. Number 10, I'm dying."
Yeah.
Like, you walk in here? She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "At best, you got to be 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the nurse is like,
Yeah. Scott, go back to your laptop.
Scott, put your headsets on.
so
Scott.
then he goes,
Yeah.
she goes, "Okay, 4. And the nurse is like, "Oh, well, that's an improvement over last time." She's like, "Well, he wasn't here last time
Yeah.
to admonish me for saying it can't possibly be a 10.
Well, you got to get a real number.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
"What? You need like a morphine drip?"
I mean,
What's
yeah,
going on here?
the word 10, I mean, that's like saved for the worst of the worst, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come
They're
on.
gonna hook. I mean, here comes like the.
Here comes
You're
the
looking
gurney.
at it like, come on, suck it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here comes the morphine drip on one side, the oxy drip on the other side. Like, what do you,
yeah.
Did you tell her you were working while you were taking this?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, the nurse is like, he works the whole time during here. He might take on a different call. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, "Well, what does he have?" And the nurse kind of looks. She's like, "We're not really supposed to say." I turn on, I'm like, "Pancreatic cancer," and she's like, "Oh, that's way worse than me." All right.
Yeah.
And so after that, then the nurses started putting like the patients who needed like a pick me up,
Yeah.
like behind, and it depends on what
What day is on?
what day it is, like
Yeah.
what I might say, like. But it was always a treat. But I tell you, at the end, I brought in like chocolates for everybody because I was like, I know I wasn't the easiest guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so everybody gets something.
Well, I mean, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
And thanks for sharing, like Chad
Yeah,
said. So,
yeah.
I mean, you
We
want to tell
appreciate
anybody? You want to give anybody a shout out? You want to give your kids a shout out?
Yeah, I'll say hi to Bradley and Eva and my wife Tori. Thank you for
Sister-in-law.
Catherine. Thank you for being alongside me and doing all this with me. I have to say, it hasn't always been fun, but winning is fun. And
You're winning right now.
I'm winning, so yes, we're having fun with it.
Yes, sir.
So
yeah. Keep
it's
stacking
great.
those wins, man.
Yeah.
Stacking wins.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're coming back.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Great.
See you.
Take care, guys. Like and subscribe.